Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to East Ventures Founders Gathering event at On5 Grand Hyatt, Jakarta. My name is Gavin, and I am from East Ventures. First of all, I would like to say thank you to all of you who have made the time to attend this event. And I would also like to extend our warmest welcome to our partners, Pa Frankie and Smart Friend team, from the public market side, and of course, our beloved founders. So the rundown for today's event, we'll have opening and panel discussion with insightful speakers, and then we will continue with photo session and end with lunch and networking event. So without further ado, I would like to invite our managing partner Willson to open and introduce the participants here today. Willson, time and place are yours.
I actually feel very uncomfortable with the setting. It seems like our event getting more and more serious. This is supposed to be a very casual event because before the pandemic, East Ventures always have a founders gathering so that we can share knowledge, we can do collaboration, know each other, and you know the beauty of the ecosystem within East Ventures is that everybody helping each other because we are kind of like one big EV family. But today seems like very serious because everybody likes sitting, but let's make something more casual, collaborative, and I would like to put a note that this is the fourth event that we have been doing in the past 2 months. It seems like we have a lot of events, but in fact that every event actually has a purpose. And today's event simply because some of our team members from Singapore actually come to Jakarta, and this is the first time they came to Jakarta since 3 years ago. Pandemic has changed a lot of the way we conduct our business, the activities, and one thing that we are missing out is the gathering of our founders. So now we're paying our debt. We are going to keep meeting everyone to make sure that we know each other better so that we can work closely and make sure that we can help and build Indonesia together. That is why we have this event today. And as usual, in all the East Ventures event, we would like everybody to know each other. So I would like to introduce some of our team members, and then after that, we will pass the mic to everyone to introduce and give one-liner about themselves. If you come from a company with multiple team members, please just stand up and one person speak to introduce everyone so that we can save time. We have almost 150 probably today, participants today, and we don't have a lot of time. So make your intro short and punchy so people can remember you. Okay? I would like to introduce one of our key member. We have so East Ventures started as a seed fund, and over time we have been growing into multi-stages fund. We have seed team, we have growth team. I would like to welcome Roderick, the managing partner of East Ventures, who has been taking care of the growth team as well.
Hi everyone. I'm Roderick. Hi.
Yeah. And I also would like to introduce Wykit, managing partner of East Ventures, who just joined us from Pavilion, one of Temasek subsidiary.
Hi everyone.
So 3 of us are the managing partner of East Ventures, and we manage multi-stages fund. We have seed fund, we have growth fund. As probably you have known, we just raised and closed our latest fund, which is $500 million US. So it's relevant to today's topic. We talk about winter in sunny Jakarta. Yeah, I think it's not a winter for us anyway. But we will deep dive more into that. But before that, I would like to introduce more people. We have David Audi, our operating partner. So for all the founders that have problem, find David Audi. He's the problem solver. We have Avina, partner of East Ventures. Avina in charge in our ESG initiative. So this is the first time that we have our sustainability reports 2022. It has been very good because now we're able to measure the impact of our activity. In the past 13 years, we think that we are very impactful, but we have no idea how impactful we are. And now, as the fund progress, the firm progress, now we make sure that we measure the activity, the impact that we created, and also we want to make sure that every decision process that we make, we always very thoughtful about the impact and ESG framework. I would like to introduce Irene, who has been always in East Ventures. Irene in charge in the seed fund, and definitely many of you have interacted with her. We have Devina as well, the principal for seed team. Devina in charge for all the investment activity in seed seed team. And I would like to introduce Yin Wei from Singapore. Yin Wei in charge and the team lead of the growth team. Without further ado, I think I would like to pass the mic to the audience and introduce yourself so everybody know each other. Another note, very important note. Today, not only East Ventures founders are in this room, but we also have a lot of friends from public market and also from smart friends. So we hope that by bringing different kind of like crowd, we also able to collaborate more. Okay, yeah. Why don't we dive into our today discussion? Yeah, I think the most frequent asked question right now with the global market situation and then the funding crunch that everybody thinks will come to the startup world, and there is a lot of bad news around us. So I think it is very important for us to discuss it and what is the view of East Ventures, and I would like to hear some of the perspective from the audience as well, from our founders, the struggle or anything that you guys want to voice out. It's going to be a discussion instead of a one-way talk. So probably we can start with that first. Okay, Jordi, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Jordi and I'm part of early stage investment team.
Okay, thank you, Jor. Yeah, so maybe we can start from Rod. Rod, do you want to share a bit of your perspective about what's going on with this winter in sunny Indonesia?
So I was asked this earlier as well at the Kata Data event, right? I think the quote was, they're saying that Willson is everywhere telling people that winter is coming. But as Willson said also, right, in Indonesia there's no winter. So it's rainy season and dry season. So we're now in the rainy season, I guess. So I think as any part of any investment cycle, yeah, right? There's of course challenges lah. This is not the first time, and it won't be the last time lah. There are cycles like this, of course, right? I think the key for us is one, we have a very massive ecosystem, yeah, that you see here today as well, right? So you should leverage each other lah to help each other as well during these tough times. But two also, right? It's easy to get distracted, especially when money was abundant, it was cheap, right? Now that it's getting tougher lah, right? Make sure you focus on the core business lah, right? And then don't get distracted by other things lah. I think just a quick one. Yeah.
Well, YK, do you want to share your perspective about this winter?
I think like what Rod said, funding cycles have come and gone many times. Last time around there was a perceived winter was COVID, but it was gone quickly within 6 months. I think there are a lot of dry powder in the world waiting to deploy. They're all being a bit more cautious now because of geopolitics, because of how the US Fed rate will change depending on perceptions of recession in the US. But I do think during this period is also a good time for founders to take stock, focus a bit more on unit economics, position themselves for growth when the cycle comes back.
If anyone have question, you guys can just raise your hand so that we can address. You can ask anything. It's a good time to interact with East Ventures team, with the partners, with the whole investment team, and then we can share each other the perspective. Yeah. Anything else to add? Okay. From my perspective here, because we have been in the market for almost 13 years. In the past, I'm glad that this kind of situation come to Indonesia, because in the past, 13 years ago, it is so hard to fundraise. We are the first VC in the country, right? We have to execute show some traction, and then after that we sell our dream. Some people believe it, some people don't believe it, and most of them don't believe it. 2 years ago, it's the other way around. Every founder sell their dream, raise a lot of money, then think how to execute. So now we go back to investing 101. Everybody have to execute, tell your vision, and then we talk about fundraising. So I think it is very important for everyone to focus on their core competency and to make sure that you develop and acquire capacity within your core competency before you go abroad and try to extend your services. I think that is the key message. And in the same time, please make sure that you interact with all our investment team. Be responsive, because we are here to help you and to make sure that we can guide you through this period. It doesn't mean that we have a lot of solution. We don't know also how this will pan out, but we know that with a holistic view, we try to connect the dots, connect you guys with some of the investor, and we hope that we can guide you through the correct path. So I think that is the key things about how the company should see themselves. From East Ventures, as an investor, how we embrace into this kind of situation. If you are a good swimmer, whether there is rain, sunny, winter, are you still a good swimmer? Yes, you are still a good swimmer because you already have that capability. So my message to the founders, if you are a good founder, it doesn't really matter what's the funding environment. You are still a good founder. So for that reason, for East Ventures, we will never going to slow down our investment, especially at the early stage, because we only slow down if there is no good founders. We will not slow down because people say that valuation has been adjusted or public market not doing well. No, because we believe that there is so much opportunity in Indonesia. And even though we have been in the market for 13 years, I think there's still a lot of opportunity in Indonesia. So for that reason, we are still very bullish. And we are quite lucky that we're able to close our fund recently. So enough dry power, we can support our founders. But put those aside to the founders, please make sure that you execute well and manage your core competency. I think that's the very important message from us. Rod, you want to add more?
No, I just saw a couple of people, Pa Oki and Sigit, maybe want to quickly introduce them. Or?
Sigit, introduce yourself, one-liner.
Can somebody give him mic?
Hey, hi, I'm Sigit from Bibit. We help people get rich slow. I think that's it.
Pak Oki?
Mandiri Security.
Dan, can you pass the mic? Pak, introduce yourself one-liner, Pak, like a startup.
Sorry, it's Oki Ramadana from Mandiri Sekuritas. Thank you. Oh.
Thank you. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Rod, on this topic?
No lah. I think you know it's. I think we've said enough lah, right? But I think if you do have questions or whatnot, right, don't be shy to ask lah, right? I think that's the one. That's the power of the community, I guess. Yeah, right. I think some may have gone through it more than others, right? So if you do have questions during this time and whatnot, reach out to others, reach out to our team members, reach out to us. Yeah.
Anyone have questions from the floor? Okay, go ahead.
My question is during this special time, right? How we should navigate or think about the balance between user growth and profitability? Because profitability was mentioned like many times, but sometimes when we meet like other people, they ask about user growth. How we should think and navigate around it? Thank you.
Which company are you from?
From Trans by Willson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, social invest.
So you are part of the SEED program, right?
SEED, yes, correct.
At the SEED program, I think you need to focus on product market fit. So it is very important for you to find the product market fit, figure out the unit economics before you scale. As simple as that. You don't think too much because your biggest problem actually is product market fit. Probably it's good also to hear perspective from some of the slightly older company for them to give perspective how actually this situation impact them. Yeah, maybe we start with William IDN. William, you want to give a bit of perspective how this impact, because you are the one that say you're already profitable, right?
4 years. 4 years.
Yeah.
Selamat siang lagi semuanya. I think from our standpoint, I am lucky to have Winston as my brother and co-founder. So he is actually in charge of all the fundraising. So we split the roles very clearly. He led the fundraising, I led the business. So we are very focused on building our products and services. Our reason to exist is to democratize access to information. So we define very clearly who is our clients. It can be our advertisers, it can be our end consumers. I saw Gisela from DSS, Smart Friend, who is also our clients. So our focus has always been to, on the audience side, we serve them. On the advertiser side, we serve them. On the end consumer side, who purchase our virtual products, we also serve them. So I think that has always been our focus. And I think it's a business 101, right? So you aim for the revenue, you manage the cost, don't do crazy spending. And I think that is the idea of, at least of how we try to build our business. So I think Winston provided an air cover for me, so I don't really experience the winter, the summer, because I think he's dealing with the difficult part, and I'm dealing with the other difficult part. So I think that is
So
my
clear
business.
separation of duty is very important. Everybody focus on their things. Winston focus on the finance side. You focus on the product, on the execution side. Yeah, I think so. Hopefully everybody can learn about that as well. How you actually give a mandate to different team member and make sure that everybody can execute. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Yeah. No, maybe Boris. What do you think about this situation and how this impact your business? Anything that we can learn?
Oh, the podium? Oh wow. I thought it's supposed to be informal meetings, gatherings. So I think we are a pretty unique beast, right, when it comes to startups. We are software as a service companies. And since the start, we have been mata duitan, yeah. So we have been always aiming for revenue, healthy growth. And I think Willson, 2 years ago when we first raised our seed fund and pre-series A, he asked me to hire a professional salesperson. But back then, when I look at the amount and the money, I think we still not be able to afford. And rather than spending, we waited for a few years. And I think last year we hired a head of sales from Oracle Indonesia. And you know, part of our mantra is always to be responsible when it comes to spending and maintaining between profitability and growth. And part of being SaaS is that we have a very healthy gross margin. I would say very, very healthy.
So actually, part of the work that I love in VC is actually ask the founder to do magic, give a bit of money and hire high-end people. Yeah, and I think So far, how this situation actually impact you, or not really impacting you? At all?
No, at this stage for us, we have been fortunate enough to sell to a lot of corporates. So and being able to build a product as a key to their business processes that they cannot have without, it makes them very hard to churn. And meaning for us, we have a very stable stream of revenue that we can rely on during the bad times like this, right? And for us, there is always the big corporates. When times are bad, it doesn't mean they slow down. They use this opportunity to reinvest in their systems, and that's where our growth, despite the COVID, has been speeding up as well.
I see. Okay. Thank you,
Thank
Boris.
you.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody again. I have a question with regards to fundraising, especially for early stage startups. Being myself a second or third time founder, usually the philosophy is you don't want to raise too much too early, especially before you have product market fit, as Willson was saying. But then obviously now we're a bit in challenging environments, and there's always that temptation to raise a bit more. So I just want to hear your guys' perspective of also the founders of how you think about it and considering the macroeconomic environment. Thank you.
I think if you are good founders and then you can find product market fit, you won't have funding issue at all. But if you're in between that, you haven't figured out product market fit, and probably you're going to find a product market fit, then you have to start selling your dreams and tell people that maybe one day I'm going to make it, and people will have to believe in you. So to me, actually, execution is key in this kind of period. In the past, in a couple of years, a lot of VC has been funding dreams. I think it is very important for us to differentiate between what is the fundamental and what is the phenomenal. So the substance itself has to be stand out. Yeah. So focus on your key product. Find a good product market fit, and always able to articulate how you get the product market fit and how are you going to scale it. I think that's the key. Yeah. Iman. Where is Iman? Iman, what do you think, Iman, so far? And how this situation impact Ruang Guru? Man.
So, I think we acknowledge what is happening out there, right? To be fair, it's not as easy as before to fundraise. I think not every investor as bullish, as brave as Willson, right? And I think the conversation has also been shifted from, I think, growing at all costs. Now we're talking about profitability. But I think as a founder, and I think especially in edutech, I think we have always been focusing on profitability since day one. And if anything, I think it's a bit contrary to what a lot of people thought, because I think the main question that every time I meet investor asked to me was like, hey, so you got growth because of the pandemic and all of that. If anything, it's actually the contrary. Because in Indonesia, specifically, during the pandemic, yes, people go online to study. Yes, schools are shifted online. But because of that as well, people start to get lazy as well. They see, especially for supplementary education, not as required as before. They start to basically question, why do I start online, So if anything, right now, since schools are back, the business is actually doing much better than during the pandemic. So it's actually quite the contrary to what a lot of people thought. But I think this whole situation also makes us rethink and it's something that we've been always thinking, obviously, but makes us think much harder in terms of how we want to go back to fundamental. So for instance, if previously the growth is very much fueled and driven by marketing, now we are much more driven by sales, for instance. And then we also think about, yes, we might actually acquire one company, two companies, but then at the same time, we need to think about how do we ensure that not just one or two companies are profitable, or one or two business units, but all of our business units are becoming profitable. And then we also start to think about, do we need actually that many people? Did we actually overhire people because we think that we need to grow at all costs? So I think, if anything, I think this situation also will make us becoming stronger. So I believe that everybody who will be able to pass the situation will become much more stronger. Yeah.
No. Questions from the. You want
any question from the audience to Iman? Man, don't run first, man.
Oh.
Maybe there's a question. Anyone want to ask Iman anything?
There's a question here.
Oh.
Hi, we're from the capital markets. So we would like to ask you, do you think the valuation of tech companies are more reasonable now?
I think the way to answer valuation is willing buyer, willing seller, right? So reasonable is in the eye of the beholder. As long as somebody is willing to buy it at a certain price, then it should be reasonable.
Another question. Since we are from the public side, right? So we are the sucker of wherever you guys are getting out. You are the first that get in. We are the one that buying you guys out, right? So,
I think I don't see that way. Yeah, we are the one that create value, and you guys realize it.
Again, willing buyer and willing seller.
So now that given our last two tech IPO is just like so, right? I think the hype is much bigger on the private side than the public side. So how you guys can, let's say, make it more interesting so we on the public side also can get the upside return?
I will answer it first, and then after that, Rod. From my perspective at the early stage fund, actually I don't care about exit at all. What I care actually is ventures become a platform to give opportunity to young people to realize their dreams. As long as we're able to do that, East Ventures will be the platform, and we will be the platform that stay for quite a while. So that is our objective. So whether it's IPO, M&A, company provide dividends, as long as the young entrepreneur able to realize their dreams, we are actually meet our objective. But interestingly, in Indonesia, if probably you know, we are one of the largest democratic country in the world. Population is our competitive advantage. And you see everyone in this room, we are actually doing the aggregation of brain power to build the country. Each of you actually solving a small problem, but as an aggregate, actually we solve a very big problem. So from the public market side, I can't really answer it. That's actually my answer, because our thesis at early stage is very different. Rod will answer it.
So I think Pak Agung from BNI used to do the Bukalapak IPO. Maybe he can help answer that question for you.
Yeah, Agung, actually it's good forum for you too. Yeah.
Hello,
Look,
Pak
I think what you should guys have to be worried. You know, I even judging by the number of gray hair, you know, I went through 3 crises already. I think the worst crisis was actually in 1998, and that was actually the time where a lot of good opportunities to buy. I think what is very important for investors, name it, the venture capital investors, private equity investors, or even, market investors, they are actually looking at timing. But one thing that is very common, they are actually looking at the very good assets. What it means by good assets is actually assets that are well run, well operated, and very focused. Market is going to return. There are so many players in the market. There are actually fear about recessions. There are fear about inflation. I tell you that I think fear about inflation has subsided. Fear about the recessions, it really depends on how Fed is going to make a mistake or not. Ranju here can actually talk 5 hours about that.
Well, this is a really fun event, everybody.
But I think that more importantly, market is going to come back. There's still liquidity out there. And I think the most important thing is actually how you are going to be able to run super efficiently in this kind of an environment where capital is scarce. I have to tell you that you guys are actually competing with the brick and mortar companies. They are also experiencing the same, but they do turn around because they also don't have any luxury of getting the capital. So I think Bukalapak, where it is now, Godo, where it is now, but rest assured that they have actually the business models that people believe. And it's only a matter of time that these investors are going to come back. Thank you.
Thank you, Gung. Ranju, you want to say something?
Yeah, you want to comment on predecessor's comment?
Thank you. No, actually, I was going to ask you guys a question. So, you guys are, Willson, I make you sound older than you are, but you're the father of the VC industry in Indonesia. You have excellent access to capital. What is missing? You've got very smart Indonesians coming out with great ideas, young, energetic, hardworking, access to capital. And I'm not saying it's the holy grail, but when there was a rotation out of China, the 2 countries that people were looking at were India and Indonesia. India has got about 100 unicorns, and I think Indonesia, we've got about 10, 15. We're getting there. So again, just sitting from where you and Rod sit, what do you think is missing for us to, make that big leap to be a more dominant player in the tech world? Willson?
Time. So I think we don't have enough time. One day only 24 hours. If we can have time, then that would be perfect. Why I say so? So I tell you what's going on and how we look at things. In the past, in order for a company to achieve 1 million US dollar revenue a month, it took about probably 4 to 5 years. Recently, we have seen some company can achieve 1 million US dollar revenue a month within like less than a year. In the past, for a startup to reach 100 million US dollar a year revenue, it took about 7 years. We have seen some company that reach 100 million US dollar revenue a year within like 3 to 4 years. So the time has been compressed. The question is, can we compress more? And I strongly believe that the time can be compressed even further. Why? Indonesia digital economy consumer has been well educated. When we started East Ventures, only 30% internet users in the country. No one doing online transaction. As of today, we have almost 200 million internet users, which is translated into 77, 70, 80% internet penetration, and everybody transact online. Means the digital infrastructure has been well established, well educated. The customer acquisition cost actually getting compressed, is getting cheaper. Lifetime value of the customer getting bigger. And then if you have unique value proposition, you just throw anything into the market, everybody will download it. So time has been compressed. And can we compress this more? We have been leapfrogging, I think. And the reasons why we leapfrogging is because there are so many founders in Indonesia that actually try to solve the problem. Do you know that actually we are the largest internet community in Southeast Asia? We are actually in the front runner. So if we have more time, which is we don't have, so I will like to ask everybody actually to think even faster, more precise, everything actually on time now. Problem that you try to solve, it can be solved easily. Just move really, really fast. Don't care about all this externality, because when you can solve the problem, you find product market fit. Actually, you don't need to fundraise. The money will come to you. That's my perspective.
Patriawan just joined. You want to introduce
Patriawan, yeah. So Patriawan is our venture advisor. He has been helping us a lot in everything. Yeah, and make sure that we able to establish a track record with the government and etc. Yeah, thank you, Pak, for coming. Yeah.
You want to say something, Patriawan? Maybe say hi.
Thank you, Willson and Roderick. Terima kasih. Siang ini saya bisa hadir terlambat karena harus Jumatan dulu. Nanti mungkin kita akan ngobrol-ngobrol ya. Tapi saya senang sekali ada di sini ya, setelah kita ketemu di Bali beberapa waktu yang lalu, sebuah pertemuan yang sangat mengagumkan untuk saya juga ya. Jadi mudah-mudahan hari ini juga discussion and sharingnya akan lebih membuat kita lebih updated dengan kondisi yang ada sekarang dengan segala kekurangan dan kelebihannya. Kita tahu ada beberapa krisis, mini krisis ya, yang sedang kita alami, yang mungkin bisa menjadi kesempatan juga. Tapi di lain itu kita melihat ada kesempatan-kesempatan besar, terutama dari green economy, hilirisasi mineral, dan beberapa future yang menjanjikan, di mana di tahun 2030 mudah-mudahan kita akan mencapai GDP 10.000 ya 2030, dan itu merupakan sebuah kesempatan bagi kita semua untuk bersama berkembang dengan ekonomi Indonesia. Sementara itu dari saya dulu ya. Terima kasih.
Thank you. Anyone have other questions maybe? Or if not, Chris. Oh yeah.
Di ujung tadi. The back.
Hi everyone, I'm Ari from Macquarie. So the first question is, what are your key sectors that you like the most right now, and which one you don't like? And then any companies that are be positioned for the but closer to IPO sooner than later. Thanks.
Jadi I don't think there's any sector we don't like. Then what we like, Willson?
We like everything. Why? You see, Indonesia, well known as an emerging country. In emerging country, you have so much problem, right? So I live in Singapore. I travel often to Jakarta. I have to live in Singapore. Why? Because I feel the contrast. I can see what is right in Singapore, for example, and what is wrong in Indonesia. By knowing this contrast, actually, you find a gap. And when you see the gap, you see opportunity. So because of that, we see there's so much opportunity in Indonesia. We like all sector. Anything that can make things run faster, 10 times faster, 10 times cheaper, we want to invest. But you must use technology. Because there's no way that you can make it faster or cheaper without technology. So that's the reasons why we are actually in the right position to harvest all this opportunity. And you guys in the super position actually to solve all this problem. If you focus doing the right things at the right time. I hope that can explain a bit.
And there was another question at the back, I think, yeah.
Hi, Wilson, Rod, Adrian from Mandiri. So I have two questions from me. The first is actually, I think you mentioned about, we are in the winter season at the moment, but good swimmers can swim better. So just wondering, in terms of course, these challenges affect everyone in the ecosystem, I mean, the tech ecosystem and offline world as well. So how do you actually associate this with, adjusted addressable markets if everyone decides to, lower the cash burns, everyone decides to lower and, slow down the cost of customer acquisition? And second question is in regards to, I think, elsewhere outside of Indonesia, I mean, Indonesia macro-wise is, in the public equities, we have been the most, if not maybe one of the most performing markets globally, because our macro situation has been regarded as one of the most resilient. So the key question is actually, how would this actually, can we actually in the tech ecosystem Indonesia attract free cash flow capital from elsewhere, such as from the big tech companies in the US, where they are so much profitable, more profitable than in the world, and also from China, for example, because I think the macro situation in Indonesia is of course so much better. We have a young population, so will they actually be a key player in the future? Thank you.
I think just the first one, right? I don't think the market is contracting at all, right? Of course, I think it's because people are still spending, and then fundamentals are there, whatnot, right? I think that the fact that some people are reducing burn to do less customer acquisition, I think it's not necessarily but the impact is not necessarily negative, I guess, right? For that, right?
Yeah. On the second question, I think it's all our responsibility, Adrian, actually to attract the capital by telling what we have built, what problem we solve, what kind of value we can create, and East Ventures has been doing that. We always tell everybody that why you miss Indonesia, why you don't come here. I think if we can tell that story and prove that systematically we can show the result, I think the money will come to us, right? At fund level, our private fund level, we don't have that problem, by the way.
Well, maybe since we heard from BNI, UBS, maybe it's good to hear from Mandiri as well, right? Maybe it's your view of the market. I think you guys are also involved in Bukalapak IPO.
Yeah, I think we were involved in both Bukalapak and also Good as one of the local underwriters. So I think the dynamic has changed a lot, right? In terms of I think the public equities have become so much more detailed in terms of analyzing the path of profitability. So I think the key questions being asked have also shifted over the past 2 years. Like I think this time around, I think people have been focusing so much on the, of course, the profitability path, but not just the path, but I think the key is also at what kind of EBITDA margin will eventually the business mature, and also when they look into the benchmark to China, where most of the companies have become very profitable, but the valuations have become a traditional company even worse. So they, I think a lot of debates as to what will be the right assigned valuation multiples as they become mature in Indonesia. So I think I would say, so long as the business model and ecosystem is strong, I think in Indonesia, I think we definitely embrace every one of you to be listed in Indonesia. But I think the key is, of course, for now the key question has changed. But globally, I think we are not just in a recession, but we are in a stagflation environment. So I think when we look into that situation, we may probably have to see persistently high interest rates, but probably the Fed hopefully may have actually by end of year or maybe by early next year may have probably done the Fed rate increases. But I think imagining for a potential declines in interest rate will be the next step. But I don't think that it will be coming for the time being. But I would say hopefully the inflation is big. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I would like to hear from Chris first. Yeah. Chris has done a very interesting work during the pandemic. While everybody lay low, he expanding his business. Yeah. So Chris, what do you think this situation impact Sociola? Do you see any winter or no winter?
Okay, hello, hi everyone again. My name is Chris. I think this is not a good time because I'm the one standing between yourself and the lunch. So thanks, Willson. So yeah, I just want to share a little bit about our experience. So we have been in the market for 7 years. So this is our 7th year, and we are so thankful to have EV as our first investors. So I think there are two things that we learn, yeah, because I think from our journey of 7 years, we have experienced so many up and downs, right? Like for example, when we start, it's a best year for e-commerce actually. When we say that we want to start e-commerce, all the investors throw money at us, everybody. Because it is quite easier, and thankfully I choose Willson as one of the investors, even though we have so many choices. Because 2015 is the year where everything is focused on the GMV only. If you can sell something for $10, which is your cost is $12, people gonna clap at you, throw money at you, even though it's like doesn't make sense, right? Because all is for the sake of GMV. If you can grow 300%, not year on year, but month on month, then that is when you do a good job. So that is when we start, right? So, and then after that, on 2016 is the doom year for e-commerce. Everybody is scared of e-commerce, and nobody just wanna. If you are e-commerce company, nobody wanna talk to you. So we are literally experiencing just in a year that kind of very extreme shift, right? So what is the learning there, right? I think the first thing that we learn from there is number one, you always need to focus on what is your customer needs, right? That's become a very important factors. So thankfully, as a company, we are quite different with the other e-commerce back then. Instead of like following the flow, like just focus 100% on the GMV, we try to build the ecosystem because we understand that is what our customer needs. And the second part that I think I would like also share with you guys is we are also not only focusing on what is going to be changed in the next 5 to 10 years, because normally all the startups, they only focus on what's going to be changed in the next 5 to 10 years, right? But we also think on what is not going to be changed in the next 30, even 50 years from now. So that is also something that we try to focus on, and we try to build the solution around these two principles in order to be able to serve our customer better. So for us, for our case, yes, everybody is looking for e-commerce back then, right? So it's very clear that going online is a must. But on top of it, we also understand that offline retail will be here forever. Like the next 30 years, 50 years, it's going to be there. The thing is just we need to change the way of people shopping, right? So it's not online or offline. It is how we can interact with our customer in a much better way. So from that two principle, we try to build the solutions. So again, we have experienced more crisis than after that as well, because after we survived the e-commerce doom days, and then there's COVID hits, right? So COVID is also, I remember Willson called me and, hey, Chris, you need to stop everything for now. Focus on try to survive first, right? But then, and then thankfully, Willson is one of the very understanding investors. So, and then I called Willson and then say, actually, I saw this as a one of very good opportunity for us, because now is actually when everybody is scared, this is the time for us to go aggressive. And as long as you know what you're doing, I think it's going to be good for you. And again,
I'm thankful that we always get the support as well. So then during the pandemic, instead of because this is very counterintuitive, right? During the pandemic where everybody cannot go out, we are actually expanding our ecosystem into the offline. So we're growing from only having 2 stores before the pandemic. By now we already have 46 stores in Indonesia. And then not only that, we are also expanding ourselves to Vietnam. And this is again something that maybe if in the normal situation, if Willson told me, Chris, can you expand to overseas? But we cannot go there at all. Then I will say, okay, this is crazy, right? But actually, pandemic makes us we be able to do that. So in 2020, we also expand ourselves to Vietnam without the ability for anyone from Indonesia to go to Vietnam, as well as anyone from Vietnam to come to Indonesia. So again, I think this is just one of some of the proof that if we can execute right. There is no winter actually. It's just more like the code company will always be a code company, and then the cycles will become up and down all the time. This is not the first time. I think we have seen a financial crisis in 1998, 2008, and now we see another one. So I think I agree with all of what is being said by Rod and Willson here as well. That I think all of us as a founder, we just need to focus and execute, understand our customers, and build the solution around them. I think that's not going to be wrong. Thank you.
I think we already like 1+. Probably we would like to hear from. We have one question. Yeah.
So basically, I have one strategic question related to the ESG development. Basically, as we know that a lot of these nowadays, 5 years back then, a lot of e-commerce always focusing more on the downstreaming related to the consumer. But I'm just wondering from your side as a venture capitalist guy, how are you going to relocating your assets going forward in terms of your investment, given that we know a lot of people only focusing on the downstreaming, on the demand side, but a lot of people has been forget about the supply side, right? And then this is what is happening now. And this is also crush a lot of the funding side for tech company, because nobody's care about the upstream because it's dirty job. But one thing that I learned from as well, doing a small coffee business, and it's giving good insight that a lot of many young people just focus on the coffee shop, but they don't do the upstream of the coffee business, which is very profitable. And so that's why I'm wondering from your side, how do you see this upstream and the downstreaming allocation of your business going forward? Thank you.
Go ahead, answer. I answered your questions. So the philosophy of time is very important in these ventures. You must do the right things at the right time. In the past, 13 years ago, we have to start from e-commerce, because e-commerce is the locomotive of digital industry. Then you get the feedback loop. You try to understand what's going on with e-commerce. Based on our data, some of them from Tokopedia in 2013, we realized that there is so many transactions actually move out. We get the transaction outside of Jakarta. So in the past, Jakarta 70%, outside Jakarta 30%. Then suddenly there is a switch into Jakarta 30%, outside Jakarta 70%. It doesn't mean Jakarta going down. It's still going out rapidly, but there is a shift. The moment we realized that, we changed into rural commerce. Then in 2015, there is this ASEAN Economic Community coming, the framework. Then we keep thinking, how can Indonesia SME compete with Singapore SME, with Philippine SME? No way, right? So we come up with the thesis of software as a service. We are one of the largest software as a service investor in Indonesia. We move our thesis into software as a service. We look at the infrastructure in Indonesia. When the payment has been solved, user acquisition getting robust and efficient, then actually we can build more business on top of it. We start investing in D2C. Exactly to answer your questions, now downstream I think has been taken care well by a lot of startups. Everybody focusing in downstream. And now we move into upstream. We start investing in Pasar now. We start investing in Effortex, Aruna, Go Komodo. I can't remember. We have investing so many. Chicken. So it doesn't mean that we are not doing anything. We do a lot of things. you just wait. Maybe the next meeting, I can present you the whole bunch of new company that are doing this right. And then the other things about the ESG, maybe Avina, you want to share something about our ESG initiative?
Hi everyone. Thank you, Willson. Thanks for being here. I think just to share a little bit about how our approach to ESG, we look at ESG in two sides. So how we manage risks in terms of environmental risks. Climate crisis is something that has been on the forefront of a lot of people's mind, a lot of the investors' mind. In terms of the social side, we make sure that a lot of our companies take care in terms of operations on the social, making sure that you don't operate with child labor, with forced labor, for example, right? And also governance. Governance is very, very important. We make sure that a lot of the companies that we invest in have good structure and governance, whether we sit on the board or on the forefront of the founder's mind as well, right? And then on the other side is we're looking at the impacts, or we usually map it to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and we see a lot of our founders and companies are having very, very strong impacts, but previously we have not really mapped it, right? So this year, as Willson mentioned, is the first year we launched our sustainability report, whereby we map our portfolio companies in terms of contributions to many of the SDGs. I think just an example, Ruang Guru here that has contributed a lot to education. Even Sociola, who is an e-commerce company, has moved from plastic packaging into eco-friendly boxes and recycled paper. So we do see a lot of initiatives that our portfolio has been able to do, and a lot of the founders have been coming to us as well to see how they can work with the ESG and the impact to really scale it up with the business, right? I think the way we think about it is it needs to be financially sustainable, the company needs to be growing, and that way you can scale up the impact as well in the business.
Thanks, Afina. Yeah. I think because we are running out of time, I would like to invite Pak Frankie to share with us. Pak, you have been through so many crises, right? So how do you see where we are now?
So actually, I'm learning from this. Sit down, please. What I heard from the audience and all the discussion is right business model, focus, execution, right? So like what Willson said, money will come. Just for information, he has a lot of money now, So please come to him. So just now I heard from somebody talking about, this. I've gone through three economic crises, which is '98, Lehman Brothers, and then the COVID, and then this round. This is the fourth time actually, right? So amazingly, the 2008, it came down very fast, and then half a year it bounced back, right? 2008, because they have a formula already to solve the problem, which that is unthinkable in the past. During the COVID, the same, right? Now, because there's complication of the inflation, it's become stagflation, but I think they are able to overcome that. As you can see, last few weeks, commodity prices come down, right? So crude oil 120 now is around 90 level. Palm oil, right? Cannot export, and price went up to 1,700. Now it's 900. Other commodity. Yeah, so basically, they're able to control. Yeah, as long as there's no more disasters about weather. If the weather issues, I think, which is really a concern. There's been triple dip, they call it La Nina, right? So these are the very extreme situation. Normally after that you have El Nino. Basically that will be dry. So the hot part will come to this part of the world, which we need to be very careful. But again, on the macro side, thankfully, we are in the right place. The right people, we call it right time, right people, right place, which is Indonesia. We have a good leaders, our President Jokowi, which give us the very good policy, as you can see, rupiah has been strengthening, right, instead of weakening, right? So from 15,000 now it's about 14,800 something, right? So that because we are still doing the export well, yeah, I think they do all the right policy. Only one project in Morowali, Chingsang, right, is exporting around $7-8 billion already. So these are the good policy that has been implemented. So we are in a very good environment, and then with all the entrepreneur, like Willson said, you know, each of you looks very, what you call it, small, but if you connect the whole dots, you know, basically you are really making a big impact together. So I think in the what you call it, the African saying, right? If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, we go together. But Sinarmas, we said, we go together, far, fast, and beyond. Right? So, and our theory is 1 and 1. Not 1 plus 1 in school is how many? 2. Sinarmas, 1 and 1 is 11. So divide by 2, still 5.5. So win-win. So this is the new technology efficiency, how we really can bring the value together, win-win, right? So just for information, I've been also really focusing on this since beginning. That's why we know Willson in the early days already with Rod, right, together. So I really like technology, right? So that's basically in terms of how really, there's many ways to roam, right? So how can we really connect all our customer base in Sinarmas, especially in our telco, in our other banking industry, and in our customer base? How do we connect this and then give them the best service, right? So now we're trying to give them, now we invest in Dana, which we can help them in the payment. They can do the lending side, the borrowing side, you know, all these kind of things with our digital banks. So we try to connect all the dots. Hopefully we can work together, yeah, with East Ventures to really realizing all the potential that we have here in the room to really realizing, what you call it, the ecosystem together. So for that, there's no winter, as what Willson said. You know, we just have to really focus on what we're doing. Certainly, if you're running out of gas with a good business model, you come to Willson. I think that's not. He will solve your problem. Thank you very much.
I think you guys read about the book how to build a flywheel. There's a flywheel effect, right? Everybody do their part, and then when things turn, it's getting faster and faster, bigger and bigger. I think we are the largest flywheel in Southeast Asia right now, because we have to all collaborate together and then create a big momentum. Closing again. Okay. I think to close this session, I would like to invite Pak Triawan probably just to give a closing remark. Yeah. Before we go out for lunch.
Just very short from me. Again, I have to reiterate the optimistic view of our nation. Yeah. In the future, and what maybe Pak Frankie knows very well now, what is happening in Sulawesi now, yeah, Morowali and Konawe, and also one more, I don't remember, Kaltara Green. Yeah, Kaltara Green is going to export 113 billion in 2029 of minerals. Yeah, so the policy of Pak Jokowi to downstream the minerals is going to give a more dynamic, more optimistic view of our economy in the future. So please, we have to participate in this Indonesian kebangkitan Indonesia. Yeah, and we have to be optimistic also in our business, and as Pak Frankie said, that we have to focus. Yeah, that's the key. That's all I think. Willson, from me. Yeah, and thank you very much for your presence here. Thank you very much.
Okay, just a few last things. So thank you so much for coming today. Thank you, Patriawan, for the closing. Thank you, Pa Frankie, for attending today. Thank you for our team who's worked very hard to put this together as well, right? Thank you all the founders. Thank you our capital market friends as well, right? So with that, we're gonna move outside to do lunch.
Photo session.
As with any EV tradition, I think we always do photo session. Let's do a quick photo session and then we'll do lunch. Yeah. Okay.
And networking. Yeah.
And then networking. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, I'm Robin, co-founder and CEO of Amoda.
I'm Burgess, president and co-founder of Amoda.
So I think regarding the event, it was really great. I think we can meet a lot of people and we can network with a lot of people. From the event itself, I think we learned a lot in how we navigating ourselves throughout the winters, the investment team, and then all that kind of stuff. Really appreciate all the effort of the East Venture team to kind of set up this event so that we can learn a lot as well from the successful businesses that have already been done previously. So we're really looking forward to more events like this so then we can expand our network and then also accelerate our learning as well. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donald, one of the founders of Pasar Now. We're very lucky to be able to come to this East Ventures event. It was very insightful today. We learned a lot about the investment climate right now, what it might be like during the so-called investment winter, even though from what we took away today, Indonesia might not be impacted so much, but we're very lucky to be connected with everyone. And East Ventures has made a great community here. So we're very lucky to be part of the East Ventures family.
East Ventures!